People are amazed and they ask me, how did you invent ruckball? How did you think up the game? Well, basically, I tell them I was thinking about cricket because you see, cricket is an amazing game. It's a game that flourishes and is popular, but it's missing two fundamental things that exist in football, basketball, and hockey. And these fundamental things, if they were missing from any one of those sports, no one would play or watch those sports. But they're entirely missing from cricket, and cricket is a really popular game, flourishing, and in some countries, the most popular game. What are these fundamentals I'm talking about? Well, it's stealing the pass and obstructing the runner. You see, in basketball, football, and hockey, you can steal the pass, and if someone's approaching to score, you can use your body to get in between that person approaching and the goal that they're trying to score on. Now, can you imagine watching a football game where nobody was allowed to steal a pass? I mean, no one would watch the game. No one would play the game. Could you imagine watching a football game where no one was allowed to, obstruct the person approaching to score? No, I mean, that's unheard of. But you see, both of these fundamentals are missing from cricket, and cricket is such a popular game. Just think of it. The fielder picks up the ball, he throws it to the wicketkeeper, and nobody on the batsman team jumps up to steal the pass. And when the batsman is running towards the crease, no one's allowed to get in front and obstruct him and stop his progress. No, he's allowed to have a clear path to the crease. So these two fundamentals are entirely missing in cricket, and cricket is a successful sport. Now, I want to talk about nationalism as well, because ruckball has a lot to do with nationalism, life, liberty, and property. When you go see a game, I mean, you're going to cheer for your country. I mean, India does not cheer for Pakistan, and a Brazilian will not cheer for Argentina, because sport is a celebration of life, liberty, and property, essential things to any nation. Life, the athleticism of the players. Liberty, simple rules, a free market, not very many regulations, prosperity, property, okay? You have that big oval field, or in football there's disputed property, the ball, you have to go to the other side to score. All these things, life, liberty, and property, are essential in sport, and sport is a celebration of those things because sport is a celebration of nationalism. But football is a false sense of celebration, a false sense of life and liberty. Because you see, if you break the laws of a country, the policeman is going to arrest you, and he's going to take your liberty away, and he does so by taking your arms and putting them behind your back and handcuffing you. He takes away your liberty by taking away the use of your arms. And in football, you're not allowed to use your arms, with the exception of the goalkeeper and the throw-in. And this is why there is animosity or hatred towards the referee. You see, because if you are unfairly arrested, if the policeman arrests you, and you haven't committed a crime, and this is done on a regular basis, you're going to have a dislike for the authorities, a disrespect. And this is what you see in football. You see hooliganism. There's the yellow card, the red card, the referee is frantic, there's referee crowding. The players get violent when vicariously they lose because of unfairly being handcuffed. There are players following a code of arrested development. So football is not a nationalist sport. It is a globalist sport. And the players are dancing in handcuffs. You don't want to have someone on the border of your country defending it who will, fall to the ground at the slightest injury. And that really affected my design of the game of ruckball. Ruckball empowers the arm with an ancient weapon, the sling, because the greatest celebration of liberty would be giving the greatest power to the arm. And the best way to do that is through the ancient weapon, the sling, used by the ancient Greeks. They were in Alexander's army. You've heard of the story of David and Goliath. When that sling is released, the release cord is moving faster than the speed of sound, and that's what gives it its character, the snap of the sling. I want to talk about the on-the-ball contact paradigm. There exists a paradigm which I call the on-the-ball contact paradigm. And it's basically the paradigm which all sports fall into. So basically, the idea is that the more time you spend on the ball, the more contact there is between players. For example, volleyball, badminton, cricket. In these sports, the player is on the ball for a split second, and then the other team takes over. In volleyball, there are 3 split seconds. But you see my point. There is no contact between the players. If you move to the middle of the paradigm, you have an on-off contact with the ball. These are sports like football, basketball, and hockey. The on-off contact is known as dribbling or stick handling. In those sports, you'll notice that the contact between the players increase. Now in rugby, you're 100% on the ball, and then the contact is just cranked. So again, the more time spent on the ball, the more contact between the players. Now what about an off-the-ball contact paradigm? If it were possible, and it is, an off-the-ball contact paradigm, which I thought of, and basically that's the code that ruckball follows, would introduce the opportunity to synthesize the defensive and offensive ball. What are those? Well, in cricket, the defensive team has the ball. That's a defensive style ball. And in basketball, football, and hockey, you have this offensive style ball, because whoever has the ball is the offensive team. But see, if you follow an off-the-ball contact paradigm or a code, then it's possible to have both of those qualities in one ball. So you have a game where one ball is used, but during the play, the first phase involves an offensive style use of the ball, and then at one point it is rejected, and the ball becomes a defensive ball. So the second phase involves a defensive style use of the ball, much like cricket, you see. And once the ball is abandoned, that's when the off-the-ball contact occurs. So basically, the beginning of the game would be passing the ball around within 24 seconds. The ball has to be placed on the ground by a player. And once that ball is placed on the ground, the person who did that, placing the ball, becomes the runner. The ball becomes a defensive style ball, which is then picked up by the defensive team. The runner is very much like a batsman. He has to run across 2 lines and step on the 3rd line before a defensive ball carrier steps on that same 3rd line, much like a wicketkeeper, but I would say a lineskeeper because we're talking about a line. You see, the field is very simple. Every 11 meters is a line running across the field, like a rugby shirt. So once the ball is placed down, the player just has to run in the appropriate direction, running across 2 lines and stepping on the 3rd line before someone on the defensive team with the ball steps on that 3rd line. And that's basically it. But you see, as the person is running, he can be grabbed and pulled to the ground. And the ball that's picked up and thrown can be intercepted. So those 2 fundamentals from the other sports are introduced to a cricket code. Because you see the code of cricket the basic fundamentals of cricket can be maintained without a bat. Because you see, the bat is only a tool to place the ball on the field. But why have one man with a bat place the ball on the field with power and no accuracy? Why not have a team of players in true team spirit pass the ball around, and when an opportunity is seen, a player with the ball simply rejects the ball. How? By placing it on the ground, by maintaining contact with the ball until it touches the field. I mean, you can't drop the ball. So the ball is placed on the ground, and that person becomes the runner. And I explained. This is the kind of progress that takes the players or the team down the field. And when they finally reach the other side, they're given a snap or a slingshot at the uprights. The uprights are 4 meters high and about the width of a basketball backboard. And the goalkeeper doesn't jump left or right like in football, but he's lifted high. 2 lifters lift the upper goalkeeper. There's also a lower goalkeeper. And this is much better because, in football, there are always shots on the goal that are too high. But this vertical goalkeeping and vertical goal really is much better. And the glory of being lifted up high, and glorifying the strength of the arm by lifting up high in the air, and by having the sling, the power of the arm extended through the use of the sling, is a great empowerment and a beautiful celebration of liberty by glorifying the arm. Remember, the arm represents liberty. So that is basically how I invented ruckball, and all the thoughts that went through my head to put the design together. So, I look forward to seeing more and more people play the game. What we need are adults who are understand what is happening and embrace this new sport. Because the tackling in the sport involves no pushing. It's just basically grabbing and pulling. No grabbing of the legs or neck or head. So it's a much safer sport, but still it has the roughness of rugby. It's really a great synthesis of a lot of sports. So I look forward to seeing its development. And if you want to send me an email or something, you can send it to ruckballpodcast@gmail.com. I'm Desmond R. Davies, the inventor of ruckball. Thanks for listening.